Welcome to NTD Business. I'm Don Ma. Just a few things to go through here today. U.S. job openings slipped a bit in May, but the job market remains resilient. Employers posted 9.8 million job openings, down from 10.3 million in April, according to the Labor Department Thursday. Job openings fell in healthcare, insurance, and finance, but there were more jobs available in education and government. Monthly job openings remain high by historic standards, but were down from their March 2022 peak of 12 million, which is the highest on record. And at the same time, a report from payroll processor ADP Research Institute suggested hiring by private employers was much stronger last month than economists expected, with nearly twice as many jobs created than forecast. Stocks are falling Thursday after reports suggested the U.S. job market remains much more resilient than expected. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 491 points in early trading. And a new report finds consumer debt delinquencies are on the rise, and banks appear ready to tighten their lending standards, which is making it harder to borrow cash, raising questions about whether we're headed for a credit crunch. Take a look.
Missed credit payments on the rise and raising concerns about a potential credit crunch. Delinquencies rose across all days past due categories year on year, including credit cards, loans, and mortgages, jumping from 0.16% of loans in May 2022 to 0.25% in May of 2023. That's according to the latest monthly credit gauge analysis from VantageScore.
Now, as we move forward, I think it's highly likely that down market consumers will continue to face elevated rates of credit as on their revolving debt and credit cards.
Higher interest rates have made borrowing more expensive, and as interest rates rise, the cost of servicing debt increases, economists say, making it more challenging for people to keep up with payments. And all that is putting additional strain on households already struggling to make ends meet, forcing some families to cut back on discretionary spending and making sacrifices in daily essentials in order to prioritize payments. Experts say if this trend of delinquencies continues, it could lead to a credit crunch. Lenders may become more cautious in extending credit, making it harder for you to access new loans or credit cards. And while the Federal Reserve paused interest rate hikes last month, economists say there doesn't appear to be any relief on the horizon, with the Fed expected to raise rates again this year.
It's going to be difficult for the Fed to sort of just stop and say, hey, we're done.
Facebook parent Meta officially launched its Twitter competitor Threads. Threads is already off to a strong start. The app received 30 million signups as of Thursday morning, according to the company. Signups include a large number of brands and celebrities as well. As of Thursday morning, Threads was the top free app on Apple's App Store and a top trending topic on Twitter. And here's everything we know so far about Meta's Threads. The platform looks a lot like Twitter. It has a news feed that shows mostly text-based posts, although users can also post photos and videos. The app allows people to have real-time conversations. Meta said messages posted to Threads will have a 500-character limit, similar to Twitter. Users can reply to, repost, and quote others' posts. But the app also blends in Instagram's existing aesthetic and navigation system and offers the ability to share posts from Threads directly to Instagram stories. Threads accounts can also be listed as public or private. Verified Instagram accounts are automatically verified on Threads. Threads is available in 100 countries and more than 30 languages on Apple's iOS and Android, according to the company. As for whether this new app will be a so-called Twitter killer, watch my interview yesterday where I spoke to a social media professor. And finally, the widely popular AI chatbot Chat GPT saw monthly traffic to its website decline for the very first time ever last month. This is according to analytics firm SimilarWeb. Worldwide desktop and mobile traffic to the Chat GPT website decreased by 9.7% in June from May. The amount of time visitors spent on the website was also down 8.5%, the data shows. Chat GPT is the fastest growing consumer application ever and now boasts over 1.5 billion monthly visits, one of the top 20 websites in the world. Chat GPT has far surpassed Bing, the search engine run by Microsoft. So is the decreasing traffic a potential sign of the chatbot's novelty wearing off? Here to talk to me is Robert Salvador, tech expert and CEO of DigiBuild Software. Now, the wildly popular AI chatbot, Chat GPT, saw a near 10% drop in traffic for the first time ever. The amount of time visitors spent on the website was also down nearly 9%. What do you think we can conclude from seeing this?
Well, I personally don't think it is that surprising. What you've seen over the last few months with these large language models and with artificial intelligence is many companies, all the companies in the world, are realizing the power and trying to jump into artificial intelligence. So you've seen, many other big companies come out with their own version of something like Chat GPT. That includes Google's Bard, for example. So I don't think that usage of Chat GPT is slowing that much, or that it is that big of a deal. I just think customers are starting to look at some of the other AI products that are out there. And then you also see a lot of movement in some of these open source LLMs and open source work happening within artificial intelligence. So while there is a drop in Chat GPT's numbers this much, I think the two biggest takeaways for me are, one, Chat GPT was one of the fastest growing products ever, the fastest growing product ever. It reached 1 million users faster than any other product. So it was bound to slow down a little bit. And then two is that people are just trying other options that do similar to Chat GPT. So I think that accounts for why some of the usage is down. I definitely don't think that this bubble or this technology is slowing down anytime soon.
So you used the word bubble. Do you think this meteoric rise with ChatGPT, do you think it has the fundamentals to back it up?
Yeah, I do. I mean, so anytime you have really disruptive technology, the reason a bubble starts around it is because many people look and see the value that can be created long term, and then it becomes a gold rush. No different than the gold rush in California, years ago, hundreds of years ago. So I think that it's definitely real. I think we have not seen a technology that is fully battle tested and ready in the same way that Chat GPT is, maybe ever, as far as emerging technology. So it's definitely a new paradigm, and it's something that is going to change many different markets. Bill Gates came out and said not too long ago that, we have reached a new era of technology and artificial intelligence is going to lead that. And so I do think the hype, the bubble, so to speak, behind AI and Chat GPT is real. Like any other bubble, there will be, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the technology itself, LLMs, artificial intelligence, things like machine learning is definitely real.
Yeah, I mean, nothing in this world goes up in a straight line, right? It's completely normal to have a correction here and there once in a while. But do you think in the long term, right, the trend will just be sort of going up?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that artificial intelligence will have a trajectory of progress and driving results and efficiency like nothing we've ever seen before. It's kind of like Moore's Law, where it just accelerates faster and faster. And that kind of goes back to my statement about, what artificial intelligence does. We have really never seen, a battle-tested technology like this that can just do things that were impossible for us to do before, or impossible for human beings to do on their own. So I do think you will see some very fast growth. I mean, if you look already at the growth you've seen since Chat GPT came out, 6, 8, 10 months ago, the progress in Chat GPT-4, what you're seeing with Google Bard, all of the incredible applications that are being built, open source. If you can look into things like, agents, GPT agents, that do some really incredible things and can provide some really incredible results. So I definitely think the trajectory upwards will be faster and more real than many of the technologies before artificial intelligence like we're seeing now.
So ChatGPT specifically, what do you think of its business model? Because a lot of users use it for free, and it's also quite expensive for OpenAI to come out with a new version, which they have to do on a regular basis. So what do you think about this business model? Is it sustainable?
So I think they're doing what they need to do in order to get a lot of, early customers and a lot of early buzz and, early foundation. They became the fastest product ever to 1 million users. So I do think it's effective. What you see many times in the tech world and in the venture world is companies doing some sort of freemium model to get all of these customers on board, and then they monetize it from there. So you're seeing that now with what OpenAI, the owners of Chat, the creators of Chat GPT are doing, starting to build out API access and starting to build out a paid version. And eventually you're going to start to see much more powerful and much more robust applications of this technology. And that's when they'll really be able to monetize on it even more. Chat GPT is really, kind of just a chat bot or a way to interact with information and intelligence like we haven't seen before. So I do think that OpenAI will be just fine. They'll be able to monetize on it. And I think there's different, there's things you can do with Chat GPT, the free version, but then there's also major powerful results, kind of like we do things that we do at DigiBuild that you can't just do with the free version. You need the paid version or you need the premium version. So I think OpenAI will be just fine in the way that they eventually monetize this. And they have a lot of venture backing behind them. So they're doing okay.
All right. And I want to follow up on a previous point that you made about long-term growth. When we're talking about that, it really comes down to fundamentals. So in the case of ChatGPT, it has to be reliable. And do you think it is reliable? Because there's conversations about how it's generating results. People are saying it's hallucinating. That's a term as well. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so when used properly, ChatGPT is incredible. It's accurate in many things. Again, if prompted and if you know what you're looking for, it is an incredible tool. I will say that yes, like any new technology, you're going to have bugs, you're going to have issues. LLMs, these large language models, are very, very, very powerful, almost powerful beyond human comprehension. So the fact that we're able to use ChatGPT like we are right now is a very big deal, and it's great for humanity in many ways. But you definitely have to be careful. Again, with any new technology, you're going to have things like we're seeing with this, hallucinations, where there was a case with a lawyer who went to ChatGPT and asked some legal questions, and apparently ChatGPT hallucinated some case law. And now that lawyer is getting in trouble, and it didn't work very well. So I don't think that's very different from the early days of the internet or other new technology. If you remember back then, and even sometimes nowadays, you'll try and pay for something, at a checkout on the internet or online, and it won't load or it'll bug out, and you'll have to do it again or something will go wrong. That happens with technology, but I think overall, if you look at where ChatGPT and similar tools have come from the last 6 months and where we expect them to go in the next 6 years, the overall benefits to business, to society, to many different things will just be massive.
And I think you touched on this as well, but I'm wondering if you have anything more to say. What are some ways ChatGPT and AI in general are already being used?
Sure. One easy one is at our company, DigiBuild, we use ChatGPT and AI in the real estate and construction industry, to save these companies millions of dollars and find them better material pricing for their jobs, keep their job schedules, where they need to be. And if you look at, what those results can do for the global economy, our market alone, real estate and construction, is the second biggest in the world. And artificial intelligence is going to drive efficiency and cost savings and lowering of risk in a way that we haven't seen before. And then you could look across other markets. In medicine, we're going to be able to detect cancer faster and create new treatments with drugs we hadn't thought about. You can even look at things like social media, where there'll be all kinds of new social media content, and even people on social media and influencers who are artificial intelligence, and they're not even real. You'll even see this spill over and be used in elections. AI and things like Chat GPT will have a large place in elections in the future. So if you look at the span of markets that will be disrupted or improved in some way by this technology, it really is world changing. And you're already starting to see that. And this technology was only released in the last year. So it's a very exciting time to be in tech and to use things like Chat GPT and artificial intelligence.
And to your point, a lot of people are comparing AI now to the advent of the internet and the development of the internet. So from that point, do you think there should be, or is there regulation of AI? What should it be, in your opinion?
So that is a great question, and I think it will be a fundamental question that our governments and society need to answer the right way over the next couple years. We are not to the point yet where AI is going to take over the world and do all these, things that everyone's afraid of, but we will get there faster than people think. I mean, this is a world-changing technology. Now that the genie is out of the bottle, it is not going away. There's no question. So it's going to be important to have regulation, around the safety and around, of course, things like defense and weapon systems and whatnot. But I also think that it's important that the government is not too heavy-handed in the regulation. Unfortunately, it seems the things that get the most regulated by the government are the things that perform the worst or end up having, adverse effects that may not have happened if the private market was more involved and if, the builders of this technology were more involved. If you look at some of the questions that you've seen about technology in Congress and these committees and whatnot over the years, it's kind of scary, their lack of understanding. And I'm just hoping that we don't do the same thing with artificial intelligence and that we bring in people who actually understand the technology, understand its uses. But I definitely think there will be a place for a balance of proper regulation, as well as leaning into the technology, in government. And, I'm from the state of Florida, and, I'm hopeful that the state of Florida is going to utilize things like artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency in a proper way, because they can drive trillions of dollars of growth and value while at the same time balancing the need for safety. So the need will be there. I just hope it happens in the right way.
And I just have one more question for you, and arguably this may be the biggest question. Is AI dangerous? What does the future look like?
Well, that is the million-dollar question, it seems. I would say that AI can be dangerous depending on whose hands it is in and how it is built. I think you can make that case for many different types of technology. If you look, 100 years ago when, cars and whatnot were becoming more popular, or, airplanes and whatnot, you can make the argument that many people can be injured or hurt using this new technology. So, you can make that same argument nowadays with what artificial intelligence is going to be. So at the end of the day, though, I think when used properly, and you look around the world and how technology has evolved, when used properly, there is absolutely no question that the benefits of artificial intelligence should, and I'm hopeful will, outweigh the negatives and the dangers. The lives we can save, the wars we can stop, the ways we can improve the economy and, the way of life for people, really improve the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that our Constitution grants us. AI can do that in a big way if we build it and use it in the right way.
Right. And on that point, thank you so much today, Robert. It was great speaking with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.